My name is Kenna Mazaros, and my design firm's name is Studio Kenna. Well, I think this is such an important week for designers to come together and for the shop owners along the corridor here to be able to show their newest stuff, even if it's old goods, new goods, but it's a wonderful way for us all to connect to one another and to, kind of reignite each year what's happening. I chose Arthur Elrod. Well, unfortunately, in the past, he has not totally had the light shed on him because he's been kind of outnumbered by the architects of the Palm Springs era. He also had kind of a short-lived life. He was only a designer for 20 plus years before a tragic death. So, and he was also obsessed with the architects. So one of the things that he's most noted for is actually an architectural project of his own house. It's a Neutra home, but they call it the Elrod house, which is, featured in certain films. And so it's this amazing structure. But again, all the light was shed on the architect, not Elrod himself. So he is just an incredible designer for his time. He brought such innovation to the Palm Springs design community and really kind of started what, you get all the cool European funky stuff that he brought in. So it was less of the Spanish traditional stuff, and he started working with interesting materials and just kind of was really innovative and also was kind of ahead of his time for becoming a published, or he sought out getting the word out there for himself. So he was almost like his own Instagram or his own Twitter of the time, because there wasn't that. So he would pull ads, and he had this really creative business sense to him that a lot of people and designers weren't doing at the time. But regardless, he just really was kind of pushing the envelope right next to all the architects, but he was kind of, side by side, and sadly just kind of didn't have the light shed on him as much as he should have. So now he's hopefully gonna be given the spotlight.
How did you channel his work in your window design?
So I chose specifically a hallway that he did for the Linsks, I want to say. I'm like, it's very hard to pronounce, but he was a businessman and she was a fashion person, and they bought one of the Neutra Kaufman houses, and he specifically did this really interesting hallway in the entrance of their home, which was made of wood and mirrored panels. And I guess the person that installed the mirror said, I would never do that again, because they were these tiny, thin pieces of mirror, and it really just had this dynamic pull and drew your eye straight down the hall, and was just something really unique that hadn't been done. So it was like lacquer and shiny and mirrored, and it was really kind of futuristic. And again, I think that kind of represents how he was constantly pushing the envelope and isn't your traditional Palm Springs look, although it is. I mean, Palm Springs has that shiny kind of glam to it nowadays, but at the time this was really kind of new and interesting. So I am channeling that entryway, and then I'm going to add a pop of color and some kind of fun things just to make it a fun window. So I actually used my husband's company. Well, he works at Television City, and so he was able to produce my panels for me, which create the dynamic look. So thank you, Carson. And then I was able to get an amazing chair. Unfortunately, not a Design Quarter person, but Denmark 50, as we know, is probably the person that holds the most of these treasures. So I was able to rent a chair from him, or borrow a chair from him. Thank you to Wayne. And then I have a few products, really cool lamp and pendant that come from Patrick Dragonette, and a cool little kind of retro side table. And then I actually am providing my own Calder-esque mobile.